The restaurant was alive that Friday night. Plates clattered from the kitchen, laughter rolled across tables, and music played softly in the background. Families shared meals, friends toasted to new beginnings, and couples leaned close, whispering to each other. But in the far corner, by a large window looking out onto the busy street, sat one woman all by herself. She had ordered a small meal, but it barely looked touched. She stirred her drink absent-mindedly, her shoulders slumped, her gaze fixed on nothing in particular. She didn't fit the mood of the room. While joy bubbled everywhere else, sadness seemed to sit at her table like an unwelcome guest. Daniel, a 23-year-old waiter, moved quickly between tables. His shift had started hours earlier, and his feet already ached from carrying trays and taking orders. He could have rushed through his night like every other busy shift, but Daniel wasn't that kind of waiter. He had a habit of noticing people. A couple arguing quietly in the corner, a child sneaking fries from his sibling's plate, an old man who always left without finishing his soup. Daniel didn't just see customers, he saw stories. When his eyes fell on the lonely woman at the window, something inside him stirred. She reminded him of someone. Years ago, after his father passed away, he'd often find his mother sitting at their kitchen table, eating alone in silence. She'd try to smile when he walked in, but Daniel could always see the loneliness in her eyes. The woman in the restaurant that night carried that same look. Her name was Claire. She was in her early 50s, wearing a modest blouse and cardigan. Her hair was neatly combed, but her face carried tired lines. Not long ago, Claire's life had been full. She had been married to David, her husband of 30 years. Dinner had always been their time, sharing stories, laughing about the day, planning their weekends. They had dreamed of traveling when they retired. But David had passed suddenly from a heart condition, and the house that once rang with conversation had grown painfully quiet. Her children lived far away, busy with careers and families. They called when they could, but weeks often passed between phone calls. Tonight, she thought maybe being around people would fill the silence. Maybe sitting in a restaurant, surrounded by laughter, would make her feel less invisible. But as she watched groups share meals and couples laugh together, her heart felt even heavier. Her fork barely touched her plate. Tears threatened at the edges of her eyes. Daniel carried plates to another table, but his gaze kept drifting back to Claire. She didn't look like someone enjoying a night out. She looked like someone trying not to break. When a family at the next table sang happy birthday to their child, Claire turned her head sharply, pretending to look out the window. But Daniel noticed the way her hand brushed quickly at her cheek, wiping away a tear. His chest tightened. I can't just serve her food and walk away, he thought. She deserves more than that tonight. On his short break, Daniel leaned against the counter, thinking, what can I do? He wasn't rich. He wasn't powerful. He was just a waiter trying to save money for school. But maybe, just maybe, he could give her something money couldn't buy. An idea formed. It was small, simple, but maybe powerful enough to change her evening. He approached the chef and whispered his plan. The chef raised an eyebrow, then smiled knowingly. Go for it, kid, he said. Claire was just about to wave for the check when Daniel appeared at her table with a tray. On it sat a single cupcake, topped with cream and sprinkles, with a small candle flickering in the middle. Claire frowned. I didn't order this, she said softly, almost embarrassed. Daniel smiled warmly. It's on the house, he said. We just wanted to celebrate you tonight. Her eyes widened. Celebrate me? But, it's not my birthday. Daniel leaned closer, lowering his voice gently. Sometimes we don't need a birthday to remember that we matter. Her lips trembled. For a moment she didn't know what to say. Before she could respond, Daniel clapped his hands once, drawing the attention of nearby tables. His heart pounded, but he spoke confidently. Ladies and gentlemen, he announced with a grin, we have a very special guest tonight. This wonderful woman joined us for dinner, and we just want her to know she's not eating alone. She's part of our family tonight. At first, Claire's face turned crimson. She wanted to shrink into her seat. But then something unexpected happened. A table of students began clapping. Then the family beside her joined in. Within moments, the entire restaurant was applauding, smiling, cheering, filling the room with warmth. Someone shouted, "You're not alone, ma'am." Another called, "We're glad you're here." Claire's eyes filled with tears. She pressed a hand to her mouth, overwhelmed. For the first time in months she felt seen. She felt loved. She blew out the candle, her hands shaking. Thank you so much," she whispered, her voice breaking. Daniel nodded, his own throat tight. "You're welcome, ma'am. You're never forgotten." As she left the restaurant later, people waved and wished her well. She smiled through tears, clutching the small cupcake box Daniel had given her to take home. That night her heart wasn't empty. For the first time since her husband's passing, she felt hope again. After his shift ended, Daniel sat in the locker room, exhausted but smiling. His coworkers teased him for being dramatic, but deep down he knew it mattered. He thought of his mother eating alone years ago. He wished someone had done the same for her. Tonight, at least, he had given another woman what his mother never received. A reminder that she was not invisible. Kindness doesn't require wealth or power. Sometimes the smallest gesture, a cupcake, a kind word, a moment of attention, can remind someone that they matter. We may not know the battles others are fighting, but we all have the power to make them feel seen, loved, and valued. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the Kindness Stories. Together, let's spread kindness, one story at a time.